So I'm going to begin today with what they call a spoiler alert. The current state of Gallatin is extremely positive, even better than in years past, and I'm proud to say that we do have a lot to feel good about. I'll also say that this year is probably the one year in which we've seen the most significant changes ever in our small city. In this presentation this evening, we'll look at some of the most impactful investments and activities of the year, and we'll show you how we're managing our resources so that Gallatin can continue to thrive in the coming years. We're going to look at the growth in our city through a few different lenses, but it's easy to see, and likely no surprise from the figures on the screen, that population is increasing. Our revenue stream is increasing too. Home prices are going up, as are average incomes, but a large gap still remains between incomes and housing costs in our city. This is just one of the issues related to growth with which many in our area are struggling. I assure you that I and most others agree that we are growing too fast at this point, but most cities in Middle Tennessee are, and it is going to slow at some point. So if growth was the buzzword of the last year, the word strategy has taken the spotlight for the City of Gallatin this year as we actively update our processes. The strategic plan that was developed last year wasn't put on a shelf. It's a living document to keep our government from being solely reactionary. We're now in the stage where we are working on our long-range comprehensive plan, which will align with our strategic goals and articulate a healthy development program for the future. The comprehensive plan that will be presented to the Council in 2020 will be the result of much hard work by you, our residents, by our City Council, and by every department in city government.
We truly need folks from all across the city to come talk to us about what they're thinking.
High five for the camera. Boom. Thank you, sir.
We have solicited input from the community in a myriad of ways. Hopefully you've all had the opportunity to participate in a citizen survey. And by the way, there is a new one available. Or you've attended our kickoff lawn party in front of City Hall, or attended one of the subsequent district meetings, or even the chamber luncheon that happened last month.
Well, I'm just interested in the development of Gallatin. It's really a growing town and growing. It needs direction. You always need a plan, and I'm not sure that there is a plan. From looking at the way things are growing, and all of a sudden there's so much development going on.
I like to keep the small town feeling going on, but I don't want some of the small town things that come with it.
We still have time to make decisions, to correct the problems, and to look at the problem that we have so we don't create that problem in the future.
Not turning Gallatin into another Franklin or another Nashville or Anderson, whatever, but taking what's unique about Gallatin, the square, the lake, the old neighborhoods, the parks, and taking those to the next level.
So here is some of what we've learned is on the minds of local residents. Number one, that all of Gallatin is feeling the impact of change. Longer-term residents feel that growth is a threat to the community's way of life. Newer Gallatin residents feel that the attributes that attracted them to the city may be negatively impacted by growth. That the downtown square has great potential, that there are many opportunities in our core commercial district, including more retail, improvements to pedestrian circulation, and an increase in the number of community events, and that the investment in the square can carry over into the adjacent blocks. On transportation, views are many and they are varied. In general, residents feel that the major thoroughfares, some intersections, and circulation in certain areas all need improving. Some residents want public transportation, though most comments focused on interurban options rather than within Gallatin. Many have expressed a desire for bike and pedestrian facilities with interconnections. And that protecting our environment and preserving land are important pursuits. Many expressed concerns related to this. Additionally, most said that our parks are great, but unmet needs exist. Residents believe that we'll need additional parkland, recreational facilities, and programming that targets youth. These are just some of the real concerns made by our residents, not some abstract focus group of people who doesn't live here. And we're listening. Gallatin actually has a jump start on many of these issues, and I like to think it's because great minds think alike. Some improvements have been on the table for some time now. Ideas like the following: more parks for the disabled. I'm excited to announce that the Miracle Park construction, once a dream of David Brown and Parks and Recreation, is now becoming a reality. Construction on the $2 million project should begin soon with the construction of the ball field, and we are just $500,000 short of completely funding this complex. This year, the city purchased 3 tracts of land. I think one of the most common misconceptions is that we can deny development and preserve land, but of course that's not the case. Let's check out these new additions that will be protected green space for the future with David Brown, our Director of Parks and Recreation.
Well, this is our first stop of the day. It's the city purchased 50 acres of the old Langley Hall property to preserve it also as a recreation area and preservation for history. As you can see, as we walk, you'll see some of the old buildings that we're going to try to get grants to restore. The house that was originally here was built in 1802 and was torn down in 65, and you can see the house that was built in 1965. We're at the Franklin Park off of Sugar Tree and Big Station Camp. The city donated 46 acres back a few years ago, and now the purchase of the 14 acres that the city just recently did makes a total of 60 acres. It'll be walking trails, picnic areas, maybe a couple of tennis courts, disc golf, mountain bike trails, and just things like that, but no lighted ball fields or any of that sort of activities. Okay, we're here today for our third stop on Main Street. The city purchased this to preserve it for the future, for small park and activities. This is also a part of the Battle of Gallatin. So this is Main Street, and it's just a nice little spot downtown to preserve.
And I'm very excited about those additions. Nat Caldwell Park is something that we've worked on since I've been in office, and I'm certain that previous administrations did as well. We've had numerous meetings with stakeholders, potential investors, and the Army Corps of Engineers, trying to get us to a place where we can reclaim this as the beautiful entrance to our city that it deserves to be. And our intelligent traffic system will finally be in place in 2020. 25 signals will be coordinated to move traffic more efficiently and reduce time stopped at traffic lights. The Gallatin Department of Electricity's fiber loop is complete, which was the first important step in making this transition. Actually, developers do put sidewalks in all new developments. The challenge is that much of our more than 200-year-old city was constructed without sidewalks, but we're working to remedy that. Right now, we're working on South Westland in the area of Volunteer State Community College and around Vena Stewart Elementary. Additionally, we'll have new sidewalks near Rucker Stewart Middle School and on Browns Lane. Also in our surveys, residents said that they wanted us to utilize the lake for events for more than fishing. This year, Gallatin hosted the second Fire on the Water Music Festival. The event doubled in size, and not just on land. The number of boats doubled as well. This event has the opportunity to grow into a huge signature event to spark tourism and fun in our city, and it's the result of great work between the city, the Gallatin Chamber of Commerce, and Sumner County Tourism. The community meetings and surveys have brought all kinds of ideas to the table, making investments, creating plans, and dreaming for the future of Gallatin. And you do still have the chance to weigh in. Meetings will continue through the fourth quarter of this year, and I cannot stress enough how much we truly want your input and value your feedback. Stay informed at plangallatin.org, and be sure to take the latest survey while you're there. One of my favorite things of the year is an effort to help our citizens better understand our government. It's not by design that government is difficult to navigate. It's not malicious. It's not deliberate. Its systems are just very complex. So this year, the Gallatin Economic Development Agency took the initiative and debuted the Gallatin Government Institute. This program is a 6-session workshop where 16 participants learn about our city government. Through this training, some of our residents will become what you might call super users. So far, it's well received, and we're looking forward to more classes in the future. Our Senior Roundtable is another new launch that's really exciting. Did you know that by 2030, the number of residents living in Sumner County who are over 65 will increase 38%, representing 20% of our population? So this year, a roundtable was formed that is working to address issues that affect seniors in our community and develop programs, resources, and opportunities to help this sector of our population have happy and healthy lives right here in Gallatin. And thanks to a grant from the Tennessee Arts Commission, local artist Brian Deese installed 2 murals in our downtown section. one commemorating our railroad history and the other paying tribute to the legendary high school basketball game between Union and Gallatin high schools, upon which the book and soon-to-be film More Than Rivals is based. Other efforts born of citizen feedback instituted in years past, like the Youth Council, measures to protect pollinators in our community, the Gallatin brand, and city beautification and cleanup work are all still important, ongoing, and meaningful to our city. I'm very excited to share with you all today that I just returned on Saturday from what was one of the most amazing experiences of any of my 3 professional careers. I was honored to be invited to attend the Mayor's Institute on City Design in Columbus, Indiana. For 34 years, the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the National Endowment for the Arts has hosted this institute, which brings together small groups of select mayors together with extremely talented and revered architects, designers, planners, and developers for an intensive exploration of civic design using the cities as case studies. Gallatin, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Fairhope, Alabama, Salisbury, Maryland, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Bentonville, Arkansas were the focus of this institute, and it truly was an incredible experience. I'm looking forward to pursuing much of what was discussed about our city and many of the ideas that were presented in the other studies. This is an incredible opportunity for our city, and I believe it's going to reap some great benefits in the future. As you know by now, the City of Gallatin owns its own utilities, and 2019 proved that our infrastructure is keeping pace with the growing population. In fact, Gallatin currently only uses about 50% of our utilities' capacities. Owning our own utilities is a tremendous asset. With the huge demand of people looking to move to Middle Tennessee, Gallatin is one of the few places where utility infrastructure is not a challenge because our departments have planned and invested well for decades. This year, Gallatin Public Utilities made even more robust investments in the system than in previous years. A $6.9 million automated water and gas metering system has been installed, almost 16,000 water meters and 13,000 gas meters. There are only a small number of replacements still outstanding before the installation will be complete. This new system is going to allow GPU to immediately detect leaks in your home and notify you, and you'll be able to check your usage online anytime. And our system is a good one. In February, the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation completed its survey of the Gallatin water system, and it earned an outstanding score, 100% to be exact. And I've wanted to show you this for many years just because I think it's so very impressive. But did you know that our lines are monitored by cameras? This is just one of the great tools that helps GPU keep our system flowing nicely. GPU has a strong reputation and is financially strong, as evidenced by this year's bond issuance. In the natural gas system's $6 million bond issue to fund capital improvements, the system was assigned a AA-, which is a very strong rating for a gas utility that's also a first-time customer and has no credit history. Of course, that also does reflect well on the city's sound financial management. Over at the Gallatin Department of Electricity, they celebrated a big birthday this year. GDE began serving the citizens of Gallatin on February 22nd, 1939, and celebrated its 80th year of service in 2019. This year, 1,374 new customers were added. That's a growth of 6.95%. GDE is continuing its LED streetlight replacement program to be completed by the end of 2020, and you'll be glad to know that GDE is planning no rate increase this year. They remain one of the 10 systems with the lowest rates in the entire Tennessee Valley Authority service area and is the lowest in Middle Tennessee. And there's a lot planned for the future. Mark Kimball, General Manager, has the rundown of what you can expect in the next 6 years.
The fiber system is a big deal. And why is it a big deal? Because right now we actually have fiber to the west substation out of Allstate. Now with the completion of the fiber project, we'll have a complete loop around town, actually 2, and we'll be able to tie all our substations back to the main office. So when there's a problem, we'll know about it instantly. The other good piece about that is that we'll be able to feed that into the website, and you will be able to go online and check and see if your area is out. The other piece is the redundant feed to the city substation. Very exciting project. Right now we've had a couple of problems in the past year or so where we've had about half the town out for almost an hour or a little bit better. And now with this new redundant feed, it will automatically switch over to the other feed within probably 15 seconds at the most. One of the future things that we're looking for is our metering system. And when we get it done, it will be a very exciting piece of the puzzle because it will report automatically when we have a problem in the area. We won't have to wait for a phone call from a customer. We'll automatically know there's an outage or problem in the area. That's a very big deal.
You might find it interesting to know that we gauge our population by the number of electric meters. Each meter equals 2.4 residents in our city. But an official count happens next year with the 2020 federal census. The census is critical for the city of Gallatin as it translates to Gallatin's portion of $675 billion in revenue sharing available from the federal government. To give you an example of how much a difference this can make, our 2016 special census resulted in nearly $2.5 million additional dollars for the city of Gallatin. In preparation, Gallatin is rolling out some unique marketing ideas to promote the census that should be fun for the community and help us get the job done. We're working with community leaders in the churches, schools, and civic groups to make sure that everyone understands that the census is confidential and is important. The census is going to be online this year, and we need everyone to help encourage participation. Remember, fill it out, and no one will knock on your door. Not only is that final number important for the federal dollars that fund healthcare, schools, roads, and more, but a higher population will also attract retail and restaurant amenities and affect how our government districts for representation are apportioned. With the growth of our community, we also want our prosperity to grow. So our Economic Development Agency continues to focus on higher paying jobs, including corporate headquarters, high-tech companies, and advanced manufacturing. And they've been very successful. In 2019, more than 550 new jobs landed in Gallatin. Our industrial center is almost completely full, and our manufacturing base continues to grow. This year, Central Research expanded its services and opened a new center in Gallatin. And Wood, which is a multinational civil construction company, Power Consulting Associates, Patriot Angels, Appalachian Pipeline Contractors, and Archer Data Centers are all at some stage of opening in Gallatin. And we're delighted that several of our existing industries are expanding. Axum, Western Reflections, Laminate Technologies, and ANC Business Enterprises are all growing right here in Gallatin. New manufacturers we welcome this year are Mid-Atlantic Roofing Supply and Creative Labeling Solutions. And retail in Gallatin is growing too. Soon we'll have a new daycare, 2 restaurants, a fitness center, and a dentist on Greenlee, 2 new retail centers on Nashville Pike across from Walmart, new businesses including at least 1 restaurant on Blue Jay Way, a new retail center at the corner of 109 and Airport Road that includes a grocery store, and the new Harbor Freight and Goddard School both just opened. A few of the other already open new establishments, Pelican Snowballs and Oscar Sports Grill, quickly became community favorites this year. Of course, 2019 was also the year that Captain D's reopened, illustrating how hungry Gallatin was for batter-dipped fish and shrimp. Big news this year from the county was the new Justice Center and parking garage to be built off the square next to the Gallatin Library. The more than $100 million project will create the new Judicial Center, the parking garage, and some jail pods to help accommodate inmates. Construction could begin as early as next year and should take about 2 years to complete. This is a project that will greatly impact us, and while the construction will create difficulties, we're confident that the outcome will result in better business opportunities in our historic downtown. The growth in our city is certainly affecting our departments, some more than ever. Our codes department is one of those departments upon which the impact is great. In the past year, more than 9,000 permits were issued by this department, representing almost $221 million in investments. Homes and commercial buildings are definitely up over previous years. One of the advancements of our city recently is a move to a new software called InterGov. Through this, we can now more efficiently process a new project from planning through the building phase, with codes, planning, and engineering all participating on this single platform. Of course, growth also has a major impact on public safety demands. The commitment of the Gallatin Fire Department to prevention and education has resulted in fewer fires in our city, and that's a great thing. But that doesn't mean our fire department hasn't been busy. The number of responses to medical emergencies is on the rise, which corresponds proportionately with the number of new residents. In just 2 years, GFD's volume has increased by more than 2,000 calls. But we have prepared. In 2019, fire personnel and residents gathered to celebrate the grand opening of Station 5 and its new engine, which now covers the southern part of the city. 15 new firefighters joined our force, all of whom have completed Hazmat and Firefighter 1, with all but 2 completing their Firefighter 2 training. And to keep our talent stream strong, the fire department is sparking interest in emergency services with their high school dual enrollment and Fire Explorer programs. Explorers learn through hands-on experiences, and dual enrollment allows students the opportunity to gain college credit right here at Vol State and state certifications in firefighting. Students can now graduate high school ready to be a firefighter and have nearly half of their associate's degree completed. Our fire department takes great care of our citizens and even their beloved furry friends, which made this donation from Invisible Fence a great addition to the department.
You know, obviously the fire stations have oxygen masks that fit humans, but those don't really work well with animals all the time. So we've got 3 different sizes to fit whatever size animal you're working with, and so we're going to just make a donation today.
We are all most grateful that the residents of Gallatin support their firefighters and police officers. It's not an easy time, so your thoughtfulness in sharing positive stories, pictures, and videos like this sweet escort across the street by Officer Zubietta and the pretty famous raccoon rescue really means a lot to our folks in uniform. Feeling appreciated really makes a difference. I hope you've seen by now that the bell that once rang atop of Gallatin's original fire department is back home to a beautiful new space. The community donated more than $20,000 to restore the 134-year-old bell and install a beautiful plaza. Thanks to Battalion Chief Scott Woodward and Lieutenant Brad Anderson, who led this effort, and all of the other city workers who contributed some serious labor. Now, I know you want to know how safe our city is. Well, honestly, some crimes have increased, but not by much. Overall, our crime rate is lower than in years past. This graph shows 2008 in blue and 2018 in green. So you'll see there's a significant reduction, especially when you consider the population growth. And as you've heard me say before, if we keep our car doors locked, our property crimes would be reduced significantly because people steal unlocked cars and the purses and guns that a lot of people apparently leave in those unlocked cars. Our Gallatin Police Department is doing great work every single day, but some of what's new includes taking a greater role in protecting local school kids. GPD has placed school resource officers at Venus Stewart, Howard, and Guild Elementary Schools. Technology is certainly helping our department on our roads. The addition of license plate readers that can aid in all kinds of investigations are already yielding results, and they've only been online just a few weeks. And the department has a new robot acquired by a grant from the state that can take a first look into hazardous situations. And finally, GPD recently added a new member to the force. His name is Castle, and he is particularly fond of our communications director's arm. That's a good boy, Castle. Now, as we shift gears from police dogs to our pet dogs, Gallatin continues to work toward being a more pet-friendly city. This year, dogs and their owners had a big time at both the Pawpalooza event at Triple Creek Park and the Doggy Paddle Pool Party at the Tommy Garrett Aquatic Center. Both of these events happened for the second time this year, benefiting the Gallatin Miracle Park. Additionally, our dog park got some upgrades with agility equipment, including hoop jumps, weave posts, teeter-totters, and water fountains, all thanks to a $25,000 Boyd Foundation Dog Park Dash grant. That's Mary Garkey with Parks and Recreation and her dog Sprout, and they both like the new additions at the park. Once again, both the Civic Center and Long Hollow Golf Course were named the best of the best by the Gallatin News Main Street Awards. And the Parks Department also did an outstanding job at this year's Fishing Derby at Lock 4 Park. For the first time, WSM Radio was a partner, bringing music and food trucks to the already popular Free Fishing Day. When it comes to a vision for the future, David Brown still has beautiful ideas. The department recently applied for a grant with Blue Cross Blue Shield's Healthy Places to build a new skate park on the site of the old pool near the Civic Center, and the dream of expanding the new pool with a lazy river is still on the table. Meanwhile, work continues on future park site development and, of course, the Miracle Park that is about to get underway.
Here, hundreds of years of Gallatin history is laid to rest, but the markers meant to honor the memories of beloved neighbors have seen better days.
There it is, 1825.
The special enzyme
Over at the Gallatin City Cemetery, the Friends of the Historic Gallatin City Cemetery Group has been working hard. This year, they brought together dozens of volunteers for the second Decoration Day, where donated funds were used to clean some of the cemetery markers that had become totally illegible over the years. A few weeks ago, the Daughters of the American Revolution volunteered to do some additional work, and they cleaned 17 more markers. And there's still plenty to do. So we welcome any group that would like to learn how to do the cleaning properly and thus aid in the preservation and restoration of the city cemetery. Interest in our cemetery is stronger than ever. We're committed to increasing that. In 2020, a new monument will be erected to honor the 500 African Americans buried in unmarked graves, many of whom were slaves, located last year with a special survey that was conducted by this ground-penetrating radar. Volunteer State Bank generously funded both of these efforts. And the 23rd annual Candlelight Cemetery Tour continues to increase in popularity each year, as evidenced by the long lines at the event just earlier this month. And Wreaths Across America had its best attendance ever last year. And I want you to mark your calendars for December 14th, which is the date of this year's event. It's really rewarding to see so many people and efforts being committed to this important part of our history so that future generations can love and appreciate it too.
Exactly 2 weeks ago, we had rain that was so heavy up in Gallatin, crews had to do water rescues.
Oh my God, I cannot get out. As soon as I open my door, I can't get out.
One of the bigger challenges we've had this year, though it's not a new one, is Mother Nature. This year we've had higher than average rainfall amounts, with February being the wettest on record. It seems that the big rain events, like the so-called 10 and 20-year storms, are becoming annual events. Stormwater utility crews have been active throughout the city. The dots that you see on the screen represent 45 work orders in progress right now, and the stars indicate completed jobs since January, such as maintenance on roadside ditches, driveway culverts, and reestablishing drainage ways on property lines. Earlier this year, the city and the Army Corps of Engineers signed a major agreement that creates a partnership to address flooding along Town Creek and in downtown Gallatin.
Today we stand here at Triple Creek Park, where the #1 recommendation, the establishment of the entrance detention structure, is going to go in. We're talking about an earthen dam that's going to be about 800 feet long. And what this is going to do is reduce flood risk for downtown Gallatin and Highway 31.
That's going to be a great investment. Obviously, traffic and congestion are a major concern and a huge focus for our city. City Engineer Nick Tuttle has a report on a few of the notable street and sidewalk improvements throughout the city.
So we're out here on the old section of Airport Road. You may be aware that we just recently, working with the state of Tennessee, relocated a portion of Airport Road right around the airport. And that's where we're standing right now. And that was done so that this could happen. A hangar expansion here at the airport, and it is already underway. Just a few years ago, the Cumberland River Bridge was completed, the expansion there, and then now this section here that links it up to the 109 bypass. The state is still working on the south side of 109. There's still a couple years there, but in just a few short years, we're going to have State Route 109 complete that link from I-40 to I-65 with a 5 or 4 lane cross section all the way. So we're now on the Albert Gallatin Avenue Extension project, which is on the northeast side of Gallatin. This project is very much like the 109 project, where 109 is that northeast regional mobility connection on the north side of Nashville. Albert Gallatin Avenue is that for the north side of Gallatin. This project was bid out just earlier this year at a $27.5 million construction project, which makes it the largest locally managed project for the state of Tennessee to date. But the great news is 80% of that money is federal dollars, and It's not something that the local taxpayers are having to be burdened with. So a great investment by the federal government here in Gallatin.
And you've seen evidence of road and stormwater improvements throughout our city. Among the completed and current projects are intersection improvements at Coles Ferry Road and Airport Road, improvements at Gateway Drive and Airport Road, roadway and stormwater improvements on Commerce Way, the St. Blaise realignment and culvert installation, Eagle Creek subdivision drainage improvements, the Rockwood Terrace and East Morris drainage improvements, drainage and intersection improvements on Gap Boulevard, the bank stabilization at Lock 4 behind the Trinity Lutheran Church, and right now the Main Street crosswalk is in progress on Main Street in Gallatin. Among the projects slated to begin soon are roadway and stormwater improvements on West Gray Street, lane improvements at Belvedere Drive and Long Hollow Pike, new pedestrian signals here at Volunteer State Community College, and a stormwater system installation from Belvedere Drive to Lakeshore Drive. Over at Public Works, they've been working hard too with road repairs, ice and snow removal, trash pickup, and brush removal, with brush being quite overwhelming due to the constant storms we've had this year. It's been frustrating for you and for our city. An innovative but simple idea from our Public Works Superintendent, Zach Wilkinson, resulted in our city staging brush off-site to save the time that it takes to process each truck through our resource center. The result has been that things are moving more quickly now, and it's saving some grass in our front yards. If you've got a dead spot like I do, you'll appreciate that. This year, our Gallatin Beautiful Committee recognized 4 Gallatin businesses, All Access Coach, MAPCO, Be Inspired, and State Farm, all of which made big investments in their properties, improving the areas of the city in which they do business, and according to them, positively impacting their bottom line. And the Cleanup Committee, led by Public Works, continues to organize volunteers for picking up trash in places like Station Camp Creek and Lock 4 Park. Now, before we move into the budget, I thought I'd share some information about our community enhancement grants. A lot of people don't realize that a portion of our funds, your tax dollars, support many of our local nonprofits. There are many who do great work and contribute to our city in many ways. Here's a look at those that applied and received funding in the current budget year. This year, that represents more than $265,000 of your tax dollars helping support our nonprofit organizations serving our community, and we are very grateful to all of them. Now we're going to talk about the city's budget. I'm happy, as you should be, that the City of Gallatin is in very sound financial shape. Our 2019-20 budget is just under $40 million and was actually 3% down from our 2019 budget. Our rainy day fund, a reserve that we require by law, is just over $7 million, and we currently have an additional reserve of $8.7 million, which is a very healthy position for a city of our size. Our debt is at $20,900,000, and we have a bond rating of AA+. One new impact on our revenue side is the new occupancy tax, which will add 3% of hotel and motel gross receipts to the city's budget for support of tourism. With our current properties and occupancies, we anticipate that this will bring in an additional $130,000. And as I hope you've heard by now, the city did adopt the certified neutral tax rate from the assessor of property. So Gallatin's property tax rate is going from the 99 cents that it has been for many years to 80 cents. But the amount of taxes you pay may go up, may go down, or may stay the same depending on your determined home value. But the city will receive no additional revenue. However you may be impacted, I hope you recognize that the city is working hard and is committed to keeping the burden on you as low as we possibly can. In closing, I want you to know that I believe from the bottom of my heart that the future of Gallatin is bright. It can't be what every person wants it to be, but it can be wonderful and have good opportunities, amenities, and quality of life. It's easy to fall into the social media rabbit hole where our city is portrayed as crime-ridden and out of control, losing its charm, has too many people and not enough of anything, even food on the shelves at Walmart. But that's not the true story of Gallatin. Gallatin is a creative place with a unique and welcoming character and the best place in Tennessee to live, work, or visit. And with our, meaning our collective, vision of the future, it will continue to be just that for future generations. It's my commitment to this city and to you that Gallatin will innovate and preserve what is important. We will articulate our priorities and actions to achieve those. We will reach our vision for big opportunities in our small city, ensuring that Gallatin is among the safest, smartest, and healthiest small cities in America. We will pursue, preserve, protect, and perpetuate that which is important to our character. We will be who we are, a city with an attitude, a small town heart, the nicest place in America with all of its grit and grace. So let's do more. Let's have more events, keep our city clean. Let's finally get that bonefish grill or whatever it is that everyone has to have right now to come to our city. And let's attract quality, unique, independent retail and restaurants. Let's have jets land at our local airport. Let's bring people to our lakefront and show them what it's all about. Sometimes we can't see where we are, but I know that a lot of outsiders see us as we need to see ourselves more often, as a thriving city with its eyes wide open, prepared to welcome the future. I do want to thank all of you here today. You're interested, you care, and you're invested in Gallatin. On behalf of our council and our employees, thank you for your kindness, encouragement, and support of us. Gallatin is special because of the hearts and minds of those who love the city and invest in it. You are those people, and your work is why we have the city that Gallatin has become. I am honored and so very grateful for the opportunity to continue this amazing journey with you. Together, we are the extraordinary Team Gallatin, and that is our special ingredient. Gallatin, Tennessee's best and brightest years are ahead. I thank you for loving our city.